Y'all killing me with this.
I kind of feel like this little crash out was fueled by some form of an Adderall derivative myself. Now let's watch as he starts to roll the snowball downhill on this hate comment marathon.
Doing it. This man's just on TV doing it. Friend of mine, only 33 minutes. Imagine how much of this has been edited out. Okay. Piers Morgan, uncensored but not unedited. What is the accusation?
Dan Blazagna probably is saying that they took something out or something. I don't know. Could check his Twitter and find out. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
though.
Dan, call into my show. It's live streamed.
True. No editing. Well, we have the button.
So now, Ethan, they start reading these comments, right, that are underneath this Piers Morgan and Dan Blazagna interview. Now, this Dan Blazagna guy, he's like one of those almost like Sneeko Andrew Tate style internet cucks. You know, that he goes on, he's like, yo, isn't it awesome to have like mad bitches, like 5 Ferraris and like $10 million in the bank, dog? You know, I made all my money from like scamming poor saps like you who want to live like me. And that's kind of like what Dan Blazagna's kind of like built his wealth and internet fame off of, you know? But this guy, he's not your ordinary cuck. And I'm not really hounding on Ethan for trying to jump down this guy's throat. This guy's a fucking fag. But it's more or less that Ethan's like putting his audience through endless fucking torture, insufferable episodes, all for his own personal qualms or whatever, fights. It's like this is his own personal battle that he's dealing with, but he wants to drag you guys into it. And it's kind of fucked up to like deprive your audience of what they came to see, all for your own personal bullshit, right? So they start watching a couple clips of this Dan Blazagna guy with Piers Morgan, and this is where Ethan starts reading the comments. But now Ethan's gotten to a point to where he's like, all of these comments are anti-Semitic. Like, I can't get over the fact that there are so many anti-Semitic comments because, like I said, Dan Blazagna was pretty much just bashing Jews for like a straight half an hour. So there's a bunch of people in the comments that are like, yo, this Dan guy's right. Jews are fucking crazy, man. Like, they all start going in on it. I agree. I agree it's a little crazy, you know? But do you really got to do that to your audience? Do you got to put them through that? You know what I mean? I don't think you do.
Murdoch's not Jewish, though. No. In fact, he's probably, if anything, more anti-Semitic. He's leaning like Bannon, Steve Bannon side of things. All right, but there you go. So we're keep going, guys. I'll be here all day if we need to. Wow, this time I've claimed to give 0 Fs. I was mistaken because this is what giving 0 Fs actually looks like. I find it incredibly ironic that the host of the show called Uncensored is constantly throwing hissy fits over people actively engaging in the premise of the show. Growing up is realizing that Piers just attacks guests when he's challenged by a purely logical argument that he can't defend. Netanyahu gave a speech in Congress saying Iraq had WMDs. Again, it's like, this is insane that they're trying to pin the whole thing on Israel. Piers tried again and again to get this guy angry. He failed, and Dan remained calm throughout. While the comment section really backfired on Piers, as a German, I wish that more Americans...
So now see how he's starting to pick up the pace a little bit? He's starting to pick up the pace because he's like, in his mind, he's starting to get so frustrated, right? You ever notice that when you get like really frustrated with something, you start acting like more sporadic. Your movements start getting faster, and then you just start fucking up stuff even more. This is why people always tell you, like, when you start to get frustrated, they go like, the best thing to do is to take deep breaths and calm down. Because once you slow down, then you could start making like more rash decisions, more, better movements, whatever it is. So he's starting to get wound up right now. And you could hear it in the cadence of his voice. He's starting to read these faster. He's starting to read them more aggressively. And he's about to basically tell you, hey, man, I'm not going to stop until we get to a comment that is not what I deem anti-Semitic.
Americans would use their freedom of speech to talk about history. As a Muslim, I want to say Dan Blazagna is a true warrior, and we have so much respect for him. Notice how Piers did not dispute a single thing he said. He resorted to calling him names. Why was Kanye not canceled when he criticized the black community, but immediately when he criticized Jews, he was canceled?
See, so he just keeps going, right? Now watch. He's even going to say to himself, that, like, I'm reading these. These are like minutes apart from each other, right? Like he started reading them. Let me look at the time codes. He started reading the comments at 1 hour and 13 minutes, right? This time code we're at is 1 hour and 21 minutes in, right? He's gonna keep reading them. Watch.
Get ready to get your comments deleted. All Pierce did was call him a Jew hater, but didn't listen to a thing he said. That's the difference between a brave man and a little man that's afraid to upset his masters. Now, just a reminder, I have not skipped a single comment.
See, I have not skipped a single goddamn comment. What are we doing here? He's been, now this is like almost 10 straight minutes of this, right? Almost 10 minutes. Now watch, now this is like 2 minutes later, he's still reading them. Now 2 minutes, it doesn't sound like a long time, right? But mind you, now we're almost at 15 minutes straight of him reading these. And to be reading hate comments for 2 minutes, if I go, Piers playing dumb like he doesn't know about APAC, right? Piers Morgan shocked, but okay, that was like 3 seconds worth of talking right there. So now 2 minutes of that. How many comments you think he read in 2 minutes? Now how many comments you think he read in 15? He's just going to keep doubling down on this. And he basically even says that.
With him, props to Dan for having the courage to say what's on his mind, no matter how controversial. Notice how Pierce doesn't really want to discuss any of his claims, but rather resorts to accusations that he's anti-Semitic and just hates Jewish people. Pathetic response to any...
See, so now even that one that he just read was kind of like not anti-Semitic, right? Because the guy just goes, hey, did you notice like Pierce he didn't say that he was like a liar or anything. He didn't really like combat any of his points. He kind of just went to call him anti-Semitic. Like, why didn't Pierce come back with like facts like Pierce normally would, right? It's kind of like what that comment was going. I mean, you could basically take it either way. You could take it as that person genuinely asking, or you could take it as that person going like, isn't it suspicious, you know, that Pierce isn't asking him that, and it could kind of be a little bit more towards the Jews like being bad side, right? But basically what I'm getting at here is like Ethan's like cherry picking. He's saying like, oh yeah, I haven't skipped a single one. I haven't skipped. But he's basically he's cherry picking this. And every time he reads a comment that's like a little more vague or a little more towards the middle of the argument, he basically just moves the goalpost. You know what I mean? Like that's that saying when people go like, hey, you can't just keep moving the goalposts. It's like when you're trying to make right by somebody and they constantly tell you it's not good enough, or when you try to like win back someone's trust or whatever it is, win an argument, anything, and they keep moving the goalpost. You get to that point and they move the goalpost further. And that's basically what Ethan's doing here, trying to win this argument. And the worst part is, like a child, he's basically doing this, saying like, I don't want to do this. Like, watch, well, let's listen to him say it. He's basically going to say like, I don't want to do this.
Points Dan made, accusing him of being an anti-Semite.
Hold on. He's going to say, I don't want to do this. But guys, there's no anti-Semitic, or there's no comments that aren't anti-Semitic here. I have to do this, is basically saying to you, the audience. You don't have to do this. You had a whole episode planned. You could skip past this. You could mull over this in your own personal life. Instead, you're trying to put your audience through it. And like I said earlier, I think that the reason why he's so adamant about putting his audience through all this bullshit is because he hopes that he will be able to weaponize his audience against Dan Blazagna, against Hassan Piker, against Frogan, against Twitch. Why else would he do it? It's not to spread awareness. It's not to spread awareness because people are aware. They're going to be aware without you. And they don't need some fucking joking asshole cuck like you, some hypocrite, to make them aware. You're not that person. You know what I mean? Let Joe Rogan handle that. Joe Rogan can bring awareness to this shit. We don't need you.
Listen, guys, I don't want to read this, but this is like basically 50 comments in a row. Dan, I don't believe in white supremacy. I'm going to read it all until there's not a anti-Semitic one.
See? So even he's saying, I'm going to read it all until there's not one. I don't want to do this, guys. You know, Dan Blazagna, he's basically forcing my hand. I wouldn't be able to, you know, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't read every single one of these comments to you guys for 50 minutes straight. This guy is still stuck on Dan Blazagna. It is like 2 hours and 16 minutes in. He's still stuck on Dan Blazagna. And watch this. When the chat starts like expressing concerns about this, or they're even like expressing their like disinterest in it, saying like, hey man, could you move on? You know what I mean? Like, and mind you, this chat, these are all his paying members. These are people that pay for the membership to his channel. So they're like the ultimate fans. I don't pay for this bullshit. You never hear me cover a goddamn member stream. Why? Because I don't pay for it. I'm not going to fucking help pay this guy his fucking salary. What are you kidding me? I watch the free shit. So all these people in the chat, I can't chat on an H3 episode if I wanted to because I don't pay for it. So these people, they're going to start like expressing their disinterest in this. They go, hey man, it's time to move on. Can you please, like with this, it's a little much. You know what I mean? Ethan just starts banning people. Watch this.
There is no evidence that Israel ordered the Iraq war. It was taken by George Bush's administration with the help of people like Tony Blair.
Well, we went there.
Lot of silence coming from Ethan. Sounds like somebody in the chat got to him. He's real quiet to the point to where he even paused the video that he was watching. Look at his face. Look at how he's like balls deep in this comment right now. Like legitimately mulling over every word that this commenter is saying. And unfortunately for us, he doesn't say what the commenter said. He just asked Dan to ban him. And this is where this little ban marathon of his starts.
I just read a comment. Can you ban this person? C sound? Just permanently ban them from chat. Bye-bye.
Okay.
See how satisfied he is now? He goes, can you just permanently ban this person from chat? Can you just like permanently ban them so that they can't talk anymore? Isn't that some shit? So you can pay $5 a month to this guy, right? And you get to watch all this extra stuff and blah, blah, blah. But he still has the right to take away your privilege of like being able to criticize him, chat with him, all this, all because you said something he doesn't like, you know? So this is kind of like another big thing I wanted to point out with Ethan is that like, you ever notice a lot of episodes lately, comments turned off? You know, this guy has been doing a lot of posting through Instagram stories. Hard to argue with someone on Instagram stories. You know what I mean? You can't like now you can leave comments, I think, on there, but it's not like a comment section where everybody's sitting there, you know what I mean, arguing with each other back and forth. Ethan doesn't want people to be able to criticize him. He wants to live in this echo chamber, in this bubble. And now he's going to start banning the fuck out of people because of it.
Thank you.
C sound?
Yeah.
All right. Try and find him. I'm coming for you, C sound.
Now listen to Dan. I'm coming for you, C-Sound. I'm going to get you, C-Sound. Dan kissing on Ethan's asshole like that. Ethan might as well have the shit just wide open for him, Dan. But, oh, yeah. That's good stuff, Ethan. You know, there's a little. Yeah. Dan's good for that. You know, usually you see Dan on the opposite side of that. Like, I kind of almost expected Dan to kind of be like, are you sure you want to ban him? Like, can I read what he said first? You know what I mean? Before you just start going crazy out, you know, the whole thing. So now watch. That triggers Ethan. And like 10 minutes later down the line, he goes, you know what? I'm going to just start banning people, even just for simply saying move on for the subject.
It's just this nonstop fucking train of Jewish propaganda, just hatred that's just getting piled on so many layers deep that you can't even untangle it. Yeah. Remember, someone said Hila's DNA test. Yeah, she was super Middle Eastern. She's Libyan and Turkish.
Excuse me, she was...
And 15% Italian.
I think it was less than that. It was
7,
like,
I think.
It was like 7.
No, it was 15.
15?
I think must be because I was saying my kids
Let's pull the
are
receipts!
Ben says...
So now they're sitting there like it's talking shit about the chats. People are now defending Ethan's points. They go, well, this Dan Blazagna guy was saying that like it's illegal to get like DNA tested in Israel. And Ethan's like, well, Hila got DNA tested. She was like Turkish and like Hungarian or like Romanian or some shit, you know? Now Ethan's happy to talk about the chat when they're defending him, right? No problem. Now watch, somebody simply just says to him, hey, can you move on from this? Like, we don't care. This is where the banning starts.
Let's pull the receipts.
Ben says, move on. You can leave.
You can leave.
I'm finishing this.
Yeah.
In
You
Israel.
can leave.
I mean, you're literally.
You know what?
Here we go. This is when you know people, as soon as you hear someone say that, they go, you know what? And that, you know, they're about to start going off. This Ethan did not like that. You notice one chat person said something in defense of him. He goes, yeah, man, this guy, he knows exactly what he's talking about. One guy goes, hey, man, you guys are like just moving on. He goes, you can leave. You can go fuck yourself. Okay? You can get out of here. We don't need you. Okay? We're making plenty of money around here without you. One less person is not going to kill us. Okay? Now watch. He's gonna go further than this. He's gonna double down on that.
In Israel.
I mean, you're literally.
You know what? I'm going to make a rule in the chat for the mods. At any point during this show going forward, any segment, doesn't matter what it is, somebody says move on, 2-week ban.
2-week ban. Just for somebody going, hey, can you guys move on to the next segment? That's not even that's not even criticism. That's like literally a fan just going like, okay, I had enough, you know. That's what does that do to you? Nothing. Does nothing, you know? And this is basically Ethan dodging accountability because he's pissed off that the fans are actually calling him out on something that he might be self-conscious about. He goes, man, I do get sidetracked a lot. Like, we really never get to the subjects. Like, you guys think that the fans are getting pissed off about that? And of course, the crew's going to kiss his ass and go, no, Ethan, the fans love it. They love it, right? Then when the fans start talking shit, Ethan goes, well, my crew is saying that everything is fine. So these guys must not know what they're talking about. He just doesn't want to accept any type of accountability for this bullshit.
If they've been banned for 2 weeks already, permanent ban.
I think the mods have been pretty hard,
That's
especially
been a
during
policy
stuff, yeah.
for like 5 years on the
Yeah.
show.
What? This,
Yeah, we
every
always
time
ban
I
people.
see it, it's move on, move on, move on.
Yeah, it's because
That's just
everyone is
a lot of
saying
people
it.
say it.
Change my state of mind.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Love so hard to find.
We got him. Look at that. Even the crew sitting there going like, well, Ethan, we've been doing that for like 5 years now. Like, we're banning everybody that's telling us to move on. You know what I mean? The mods are breaking their fingers, hitting the keyboards, fucking banning the fuck out of people, man. Like, you actually should start paying these dudes overtime. How much we ban people from chat. You know? So we've been doing this forever now. Ethan's like, wait, are you serious? I had no idea. He's like, dude, you're such a bitch. We had to put that like preemptive measure in. You know? The people that you're seeing now, they're the ones that are getting past the mods. They're people saying this shit at such an exponential rate, the mods can't keep up. They can't keep up with the bans. These people are squeezing through those cracks. You know, this is actually insane to hear. We're going to end the What's Eating Ethan Klein segment on this. I as a matter of fact, now I got one more Adderall video to show you, so we'll end it after that one. But listen, tell me this is not crazy to hear the crew say this. To hear him try to talk about this like ban policy that they go, dude, we know you so well. It's been a ban policy for 5 years. This is crazy.
You know what? I'm going to make a rule in the chat for the mods. At any point during this show going forward, any segment, doesn't matter what it is, somebody says move on, 2-week ban. If they've been banned for 2 weeks already, permanent ban.
I think the mods have been pretty hard,
That's
especially
been a
during
policy
stuff, yeah.
for like 5 years on the show.
Yeah.
What? This,
Yeah, we
every
always
time
ban
I
people.
see it, it's move on, move on, move on.
Yeah, it's 'cause
that's just
everyone
'cause
is
a lot of
saying
people
it.
say it.
But there should be no one left at this point if we're banning everybody.
No, there's new ones every time.
We ban so many people who say move on.
Okay, well,
That's a long-standing policy.
keep it to yourself, bucko.
Denying
No, we
those.
can't do 2-week bans though. It's either 24 hours or permanent.
Yeah.
Look at that. He can't even do what he wants to do. They're like, dude, the whole 2-week ban thing, we can't even do that. We don't even know what you're talking about when it comes to that, my friend. Like, sorry, Charlie, but we can't do it for you, you know? So if that's not like some of the craziest shit, But let's end it on this one little Adderall bit, right? So remember I showed you that time code on this current episode. That one was supposed to be a Brianna Chicken Fry, Zach Bryan breakup episode. In the middle of the episode, they end up changing the name to like Ethan destroys Dan Blazagna with like facts and logic. As if that was like what we all wanted to fucking see. You know what I mean? Nobody gives a fuck about Dan Blazagna. But during that episode, remember I showed you he's asking his crew for Adderall, right? You thought maybe that would have been a one-time thing. It wasn't. This guy ends up going again to ask his crew for more Adderall in the next episode. Watch this.
Okay.
Did you bring Adderall?
What the fuck is that? Look at this guy's fucking face. This guy is hurting. He's not sick. He's not sick, dude. This is not a sick man. This is a man who's withdrawing right now. He's coming off of something. He's got to be. You looking like this, right? And then you turn and you go to Olivia. Hey, Olivia, you got that illegal Adderall that I was asking you about? Remember in the last episode we were talking about the Adderall? Did you bring any? Because I'm like hurting right now, girl. This guy is losing himself. He is legitimately losing himself. It is crazy to hear these words come out of his mouth. Like, for those of you who don't know, or you've never seen somebody who's like withdrawing off of substances, when they do, they get sick. They look sick. It's like you legitimately, it almost sounds like you have a fever. All your sinuses get fucked up. You start like using the bathroom like crazy. I've seen it. I've seen people go through the thick of it, and it's just like being sick. It's like apparently from what they tell me, it's like being worse than sick. But you look like a sick person. To somebody who's never been through it, me, seeing it, they look sick. It's kind of like what Ethan looks like right now. And to hear him say this is crazy. Watch this.
Okay.
Did you bring Adderall?
No, but I did see people on the subreddit being like, Olivia's contributing to the shortage because she said that she doesn't use it. I don't know how long Adderall lasts. I still have the bottle that I took to school. I haven't called in a new prescription.
Girl, you prescribed it. You have a right to get that medicine. Okay?
I do, but I promise I'm not contributing to the shortage. I would never.
You're not contributing. It's a prescribed medicine. These people should go fuck themselves.
Prescribed medicine to Olivia. Not to you, Ethan. This is not for you. So let's give it up for Ethan Klein's new drug problem.
And hold my fart like a bong rip.